I know that there are women that don't feel this exact same way, and they are the outliers. But feminism relies on those outliers. They don't want women to choose. They want to choose for us. And that's why feminists hate housewives. That's why feminism hates mothers and motherhood and family and marriage.
There's quite a bit of evidence to prove that women taking on this role and this position are really happy and will continue to be happy and will have built something that is fulfilling for their entire lifetime. Now, the same can be said in parts to women who have lots of money and work in their career, but at the end of the day, when that's all over, what's there? Hopefully a strong family unit that you've built in whatever way you want to build.
Conservative women are the backbone of American society. We stand hand in hand with men, not against them. Let's take back the culture so women can be women. I talk a lot about how being a stay-at-home mom is a full-time job, and it is the most important job, and that there's nothing more important that any woman could do. I was raised in the shadow of feminism. It's really a hard thing because I think we turn motherhood into something anyone can do. Not everyone does it well, because not everyone prioritizes it. You're not allowed to say that somebody who devotes their entire life to parenting is in any way superior to somebody who puts girl bossing at the forefront of their priority list and puts motherhood second. In any other career, like in any other job, we can say that someone is better at their job. You can't do that with motherhood because it's such a sensitive topic.
Are you triggered? Are you triggered? Stop asking if the other side is triggered. It's annoying and toxic. Hello, I'm Liv and welcome to my channel. Fights have broken out on the internet debating the validity of how women choose or don't choose to live their lives. I'm here to focus on the spiritual and energetic aspect of this issue. There are a lot of fantastic videos here on YouTube that I'll link below in the description box, so you can get to know the depth of this topic in other ways and with different foci or lenses, so to speak. The videos linked capture the terms that I'll be discussing here in a moment. I've been working behind the scenes on this for months. I went down a lot of rabbit holes during my research because this is such a huge topic. I'd like to note that this is not a comprehensive list. I'll be structuring what I want to talk about based on a collection of media I've seen similar to those linked the past couple of months across various platforms. Ultimately, with the spiritual and energetic aspect of this, people have been arguing about what divine feminine energy looks like or should look like. In this, we have two extremes, the tradwife and the girl boss. I found a few definitions for tradwife on Urban Dictionary, so you can read those here up on the screen if you would like. Otherwise, I'm gonna go ahead and say my own version of a definition based off these. Tradwife, short for traditional wife, is typically a straight woman who believes in upholding traditional gender roles within her household. She may also have alt-right values or religious practices, such as that of chastity, submissiveness, and the desire or duty to have biological children with her husband. To her, her purpose is to take care of everything having to do with her household, like cleaning, cooking, and child rearing. There were a few definitions for girl boss too. So again, I'll show those here up on the screen and create my own definition inspired by these that I think better encompasses the meaning as a whole. A girl boss is someone who publicly becomes incredibly successful in the business or corporate world. Henceforth, she's regarded as a type of powerful female image to aspire to. But in reality, her true nature and personality may not actually showcase genuine feminism. Building off the tradwife concept, they can sometimes shame other women in many, sometimes aggressive ways for not doing what they're doing. And some, not all, have a distorted view of what true feminism is. They regard a homemaker and mother as being the most important job a woman can have, and that it's something that every woman should aspire to because that's her purpose or her role in marriage. Building off of the girl boss concept, which is a term I'm using in this video to signify the antithesis to the tradwife, even though there are indeed famous girl bosses that also balance being a mother or homemaker with their career. I just wanted to make that clear. Anyway, this was created and popularized by Sophia Amoruso, CEO of the fast fashion brand Nasty Gal. The girl boss image started as a sort of empowerment movement for women in business. But there are toxic aspects to this that are sometimes glamorized, such as materialism and being overly competitive. The girl boss is someone who's completely independent, can sometimes be cold, and is extremely career focused to the point where she may potentially not practice work-life balance very well. Within these spaces, there are some that hate children as well. This term has indeed also been associated with fake feminism, because girl bosses have shamed other women at times for wanting to embody the more traditional household role, rather than, for example, having a meaningful career outside the home, in an era where more women are taking on and earning higher positions in offices and corporate settings. On the flip side, accusations of selfishness fly around towards girl bosses for simply wanting to live their life the way they want to, especially if they are also choosing to be child-free, which simply describes someone, no matter how they identify, that doesn't want to have biological children or adopt children. They just don't want to have children in their life. They don't want to be a full-time caretaker of children. There are massive themes of classism, misogyny, shaming, and pick-me behavior that come up surrounding these topics and sides. Something we all need to remember is that our lives are all so incredibly different. We have unique experiences. So we cannot shame women for making the choices that best suit every aspect of their well-being, whether one chooses to be or has to be due to an array of circumstances. A stay-at-home mom, work a job and not have kids, or be a mom while working a job. Divine feminine energy lives within all of these different scenarios. I wanted to make this video because I feel that some people can get triggered or upset towards the term divine feminine because they may not fully understand the concept. Being in touch with your divine feminine is often painted as this sort of heterosexual, having babies, traditional values type of thing. I'm here to say that those are all a super small piece of what could potentially be added to the whole that is this energy, if that resonates with you. This image can't be the poster girl of divine feminine energy because that's not all there is to this, not by a long shot. I also need to highlight that within every single one of us, no matter how we identify, has both feminine and masculine energies within us. I've learned over the course of my personal growth journey and spiritual journey that bringing balance to those energies will allow you to have more harmony within yourself. Not overworking, yet setting yourself up for success. Being a go-getter, but also allowing a lot of ease and flow in as well. Not being super stressed, yet dedicating the right amount of time to the things that matter. Divine feminine energy is not one side or the other. It's a balance along a spectrum that each individual must come up with for themselves. It's where we each take a step back and ask ourselves, what are my true personal goals? What expectations do I want to uphold for myself and with others in the future? Only you can decide this for yourself. Because what you end up discovering within is surely what's aligned to your absolute highest and best. So today, I want to go over the major themes of what divine feminine energy is, and how you can tap into that within yourself in whatever way resonates with you most. Grounding into your core power can take on many different forms, including setting and honoring your own boundaries, trusting your intuition, and not settling for less, or not settling for what's called wounded masculine energy. Women tend to be raised to make themselves smaller on a societal scale, so adding personal trauma into that can amplify the people-pleasing behaviors and defense mechanisms that they may do even more. It's so sad to say, but genuinely, I didn't even know what boundaries were until I was 21 years old. I'm 23 now. I literally did not have or enforce any personal boundaries for myself until I was 21. To keep it brief, I thought that a lot of things that definitely were not okay were acceptable. It took years of therapy and spiritual development to tune into the things that made me uncomfortable and why. and to gain the confidence to address them, both on the spot to strangers and in my current relationships whenever a situation would arise. When it comes to your intuition, something I heard one of my mentors say really resonates with me to this day, and that is that modern society only sees half of the picture. We're so stuck in logic, things that can be thought out logically, like if something can't logically be thought out, is entirely invalid. But that's not true. Our emotions provide us with valuable information. If something doesn't feel right, then it probably isn't. No matter how external energies may try to put us down for listening to ourselves, we actually gain more inner power and inner peace in the process of continually trusting our intuition. And so now I want to spend some time talking about wounded masculine energy, because this is another concept that I didn't know about until recently. If you're someone who's attracted to men, you may have had previous experiences where he violated a boundary, said or did something misogynistic or offensive towards you, cheated on you, or manipulated you. That is the essence of wounded masculine energy. It is not divine masculine energy, which is safe, loving, respectful, and uplifting in every way. The divine masculine is secure in himself, is emotionally intelligent, and provides helpful structure and support to the cyclical divine feminine. Both of these energies are within all of us, like I said, and manifest within as a healthy and kind inner dialogue, self-love and celebration of accomplishments, daily presence and mindfulness, and that sense of balance that I was talking about earlier. But trauma and external influence can put these energies into what's called reversal, where they become the wounded versions of themselves. And so yes, there is wounded feminine energy as well, and it manifests physically in ways that are intense and hard to conquer sometimes because of society, agendas, programming, and whatnot. Behaviors like chasing, not feeling good enough, or compromising on our own desires and values in order to fit in, or to be more compatible with others, to name a few. A prominent example of wounded energies, directly related to the topic of tradwife versus girlboss, is actually something I've seen on the tradwife side of things. So I apologize, but I'm going to harp on this for just a moment here, because I really do believe that it's important to address. There's an emphasis on what the woman brings to the relationship, and not so much what the man does, besides being the provider of finances through working a job. What about the way he loves and cares for you? The way he presents himself and takes care of himself? How he interacts with your friends and your family? Those are all extremely important things too, and I feel like they're never discussed in those circles. The focus is always on what the woman does. But that's not even the worst of it. There have been quite a few tradwives online that talk about how much effort they put into their appearance for the sake of being desirable for their man, and even go so far to say that it's to prevent his wandering eyes. I'm genuinely expressing this with so much love, that if you're someone who's afraid of that, afraid of your man's eyes wandering, or that you won't be desirable to him unless you do X, Y, and Z, you shouldn't have married him. You deserve to be your most authentic self and have him accept you unwaveringly with open arms, always. Even if your most authentic self is taking care of yourself in those ways, with hair, makeup, perfume, and outfits, why does that mental framework of your reasoning surround him? To me, the motivations and energy behind some of these tradwife behaviors just seem like a daunting requirement, as if one must grip their man so tightly for him to stay. And not to make comparisons here with what I'm about to say next, I want to reflect on some of my own shifts I had to make to my perspective. I've strived to feel within my heart that the healing I do, the ways I take care of myself, and the ways I carry myself should be first and foremost for my own sake. And that in itself will naturally attract my absolute highest and best, purest, most loving, external divine masculine partner, which is just a really long and fancy way to address your true soulmate from a spiritual lens. Your inner warmth will radiate outward when you make that shift, and it's so beautiful. But anyway, I'll link some examples to what I just described below. What I link below isn't nearly all of what's out there, but at least you can see some of these things in action. It's crucial that we think to ourselves, what do I truly want in every category of life? Social, financial, romantic, familial, career, intellectual, mental health, physical health, and spiritual health. What you want out of life is not impossible, and it's not being too picky. Because in the case of romantic partnership, if that's something you desire, sometimes what we dare to ask for is literally the bare minimum. Dare to choose to no longer tolerate things like flakiness, lack of emotional intelligence, objectification, wandering eyes, bad communication, and lack of accountability. I'll be going over my personal goals and expectations / what I want to attract when it comes to my future towards the end of this video as an example. In a fast-paced, first-world environment, everyone, no matter how you identify, is pretty much forced to operate in a very masculine way energetically. To be 10 steps ahead, to work really hard, to do those long overtime shifts at your job over and over again, barely getting any rest, basically being in a constant state of action. When we do take time to rest, it's often seen as lazy. Or you may think to yourself, you have much more important things to do right now, so go do them. Tapping into your divine feminine energy means that despite what anxieties and fears you may have that come up from this capitalist dystopia that we live in, that you dare to choose to slow down when you can, to dedicate time to self-care and healing, to sit down and hold space to fully recognize your accomplishments, big and small. Because with these things, we can attract more long-term happiness, abundance, and health for ourselves in all forms. I used to struggle with this a lot, not only because of society, but because of my personal trauma as well. I had a powerful, what's called inner tyrant or inner patriarch within me that told me I had to constantly prove myself, work myself to the bone, always move on to the next task quickly right as I just finished something else. I did a lot of things in a rushed, energetically distorted, and exhausting manner because it was me actively putting a wall up to try and keep myself safe and to be perceived in a way that was most acceptable. Ever since I consciously decided to bring more mindfulness into my life by taking things one step at a time, having healthier self-talk and nicer inner dialogues, and being present in my body to realize when I'm getting tired before burning out, I've been able to foster much more inner peace and happiness than I ever have before. We don't have to strain for things all the time. Rest is just as important as action. Hustle culture is toxic. Productivity is yet another balance that you must decide for yourself. To honor your flows and to honor the way that you naturally operate. It's not a competition and it's not a race, despite how often we're told that it is. The essence of divine feminine energy is not to push or force things the way that we're taught to, in a super aggressive way, but to work towards things in your own way and trust that you will receive your results as you remain present and honor your natural flows, your health in all forms. A large part of connecting to your divine feminine energy surrounds creation, no matter what form that takes. It's not all about birthing biological children. Your creative abilities and power could look like you participating in your favorite hobbies, making music, putting together your schedule in a nice and pleasing way, renovating a part of your home, making art, doing an outdoor yard project like a garden or landscaping, organizing your budget and finances into an easy-to-read visual spreadsheet, baking, writing, or any other type of personal project. The possibilities are endless. Whatever you decide to do, it'll probably leave you feeling accomplished, put together, and overall just makes you feel good. That's you tapping into your creation energy. Sensuality, sexuality, and shamelessness. Oftentimes, women are brought up to believe that their sensuality is too much, to believe that their sexuality is something to be ashamed of or to hide. Ancient societies recognized the power and liberation that women naturally have when they're fully and lovingly accepting of every aspect of their being, and they created environments to support this. I can't say the same about today's world, unfortunately. What we can do is try to break through the discomfort that may come up with thinking about the things we hide from others and sometimes from ourselves even. We must honor everything that we are. Block that toxic person, wear that outfit, express yourself, get to know your inner desires, kinks, and fantasies. Allow your emotions to flow. Allow inspiring things to move you. Sometimes this can show up as a seemingly small thing, but with some reflection be revealed to be much bigger. For me, I realized that I held myself back from crying in movies, smiling in my car listening to my favorite songs, and dancing in public out of joy or excitement. These are things I used to firmly hold back within myself because I didn't want to be cringy or make the people around me mad. Now that's kind of weird, isn't it? I had to check myself. I thought, well, if someone gets upset at my display of happiness, then that's a really sad thing. But what if they're uplifted at my display of happiness? Because I don't know about you guys, but if I see someone singing in their car alone or doing something cool or cute in public, it makes my day. I get so happy seeing others happy. It's infectious. So don't hide yourself. Try to tune into those little, often dismissed behaviors or automatic responses in certain situations throughout your day, and dig into it via journaling, in therapy, or in whatever other safe way which allows you to explore that. When talking about sexuality, this can be applied when you're alone and when you're with a partner. I'll give you a personal example of something I realized during my solo time. I always used to cover my face, even though I was alone, as if my expressions weren't pretty enough even for my own self. From there, I challenged myself to engage with my inner divine masculine energy, to gather feelings of love and acceptance into my heart space, to not hide myself. Moving on to the with a partner application, if you desire those types of interactions. I want to say again that there's sometimes this unspoken but noticeable emphasis on heterosexual relationships within certain divine feminine discussions. In truth, no matter who you're attracted to, it's about how you love your partner, or partners if you're into that, how you show them you care, how you engage with them, how you speak to each other and comfort each other. What's your partner's love language? When was the last time you had a date night or a cute night in? What do your daily interactions in passing look like? These can all be reflection and discussion points. This is your expression and your life. Your divine feminine is always there. You just may need to pick her up and dust her off every now and then. There's so many amazing resources out there that you can use to help you further build on what I've talked about here today, and I will actually plug the class that I'm taking online right now called Fully Embodied Femme by Lydia Rose Smith. Not sponsored, I just love her, and from the first class alone out of 4, I've learned so much already and have a lot of questions and prompts to answer for myself. I lovingly encourage you to embrace your full self, no matter what you may have been taught or how you may have been treated by others in the past. It's no easy feat, it really isn't, but it's so rewarding. As a closing reflection, as I run into different content that lives in many places along that spectrum from tradwife to girlboss, I personally think for myself that I wouldn't find much fulfillment in being a stay-at-home mom with no job or career whatsoever for a long period of time. That may change, and it's okay to change your mind. But at the moment, I really love the idea of applying myself in a number of categories, both within the home and in a career space. I'd like a few kids in the future, but not too many. And I see myself being just a little scrunchy, which if you don't know what that means, it's a term that lies in between being crunchy and being silky. I resonate with the conscious parenting style, and I need my husband and I to find a balance of who stays at home with the kids which days and who goes to work which days. I want our household to be an equally collaborative thing in every way, 50-50 as much as possible. I'm happy where I'm at, and my next step is landing my corporate fashion job. On the sustainable side of the industry, preferably, they're just hard to come by sometimes. Besides that, I do have my own business, and I'm working on projects for that business whenever I can. It brings me a lot of fulfillment. I don't want to live in a city, too much energy, so I definitely settle somewhere not too far away from activity, but rural enough to be safe and quiet for kids. I see myself making a lot of money one day and working for myself remotely eventually. And so the other part to all that is I need to find someone who's on board with that. In any relationship, whether it be romantic or for companionship, it's critical to have aligned values, dynamic needs, and future plans laid out and discussed. Otherwise, things won't work out, and you may not be able to embody your truest self with that person. With that in mind, obviously, I cannot marry and settle down with someone who doesn't align with what I just described. We all have our person, and with a little faith and personal development, I truly believe that we'll all find them at the perfect time. In conclusion, at the end of the day, just like with all media and all things in life in general, decide for yourself what you align with. Take bits and pieces here and there, dig into the things that are either inspiring or confusing to you, and reflect on what makes the most sense for you. Whatever you want to do, know that you are made of magic. And so, oh my goodness, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this, found it helpful, inspiring, interesting, entertaining, please go ahead and give it a like, leave a comment down below with your thoughts. And if you aren't subscribed to my channel already, think about it. Do it if you want. Wishing you a great rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.